Welcome to Ladies in Tech with Lauren Deal and Kelly Mack, a show by women for women, breaking the IT stigma by empowering, inspiring, and highlighting ladies in tech. Let's join the ladies in the studio now for today's episode.
Welcome to Ladies in Tech, where we empower women to rise within their tech careers and inspire women to check out maybe a new tech path. I'm your host, Lauren Deal, and I've been jumping into my tech journey as well, trying out CCNA. Also, AWS Cloud is in my near future, and I am a TV host as well as a teacher as well. So this is a really fun journey, but I'm not alone. I'm with Kelly Mack, who is another host with us. Welcome.
Hello, welcome. I am Kelly Mack, and I come from a radio background. I've been dipping my feet into the tech world over the last few months, and I am ITIL4 certified, also working on my AMCS, which is Acquiring Managing Cloud Services. And I'm excited about my new venture. I'm going to be teaching a course with Wes for Azure Fundamentals, which is another cloud service. So with me, I have Sophie. Hey, Soph.
Hey, hi. Like she said, I'm Sophie Goodwin. I'm currently a student at the University of Florida studying telecommunication. I'm on track to graduate here in a couple months. I also work at ESPN Gainesville as a sports coordinator, and I've been learning some more about the Adobe Creative Suite. So right now I'm in the process of learning Adobe Premiere Pro. So I'm trying to get into that area of tech as well.
It's so neat how all of us are kind of coming together on our tech journeys, as well as being able to dive into the ITProTV library. We encourage you to check it out. There are so many courses and different pathways and certifications just waiting for you. Well, this episode this week is all about cybersecurity and ethical hacking, which is so cool. One of the courses that we have here with Daniel Lowry is pen testing. And spoiler alert, I'm actually going to be diving into that with him a little bit. But it's so really inspiring to know that there are women out there who are doing ethical hacking that are different categories. We actually have an interview this week with Dorota Kozlowska, who is in Warsaw, Poland.
Oh my, how'd you find her?
Oh my word. Well, it's so cool to talk to her about her journey and how she kind of evolved her path into pen testing.
Okay.
And we're going to celebrate some of the exciting news that she has coming up. So let's check out this episode or this interview, and please forgive our connection because, again, we're connecting to Warsaw, Poland. Thank you so much for joining us, Dorota. We are so happy to have you on our show this week. Tell us about where you're from and maybe a little bit about yourself.
So I was born in Poland a few years ago, and last 4 years I've spent in the Netherlands, but now I'm back to Poland in Warsaw. And yeah, what else? I'm into cycling. I spend a lot of time on my bike. I practice judo archery as well. So it's like a Japanese medieval art of archery. And yeah, I'm a pen tester, so I'm really happy about that. And yeah, that's me.
I love that because, you know, on this show we talk about women who are in the tech field, but they also have a work-life balance. And so it's nice to hear about the things that get you excited about life. But you mentioned pen testing, and I am fascinated by this because this episode is all about cybersecurity and pen testing. And it's nice to see a woman who is in this field and can share a little bit of insight as to what that looks like and maybe how you got there. So start from the beginning, Dorota. What is cybersecurity and pen testing, and how did you start your journey?
So pen testing is like in simple terms, you test the systems to find the weaknesses and of infrastructure of a corporation, and you're trying to discover and exploit them in a safe manner. So it's like all safe, no bad guys here. And so you're trying to find like backdoors to the systems, like flaws, like improper software configurations, or like using application in a way that they shouldn't be used, like little flaws. And like I'm really like finding those little juicy things. So happy about that. And to get to the story, how it's like a long one, but I'm trying to make it short. So as a teenager, I wanted to be a programmer or a hacker, and I didn't know that you can be like an ethical hacker then. But when I started, when I went to IT and became a test engineer, I felt like programming doesn't really spark joy.
I understand, yeah.
And I have moved to the Netherlands for 4 years, and straight from the airport joined 2 security meetups and like went there to listen about security and all the topics, and was like making notes because I didn't understand what was happening for most of the time, but just to listen and know more about it. That's like when I had this difficult moment in my life 2 years ago, and I received like a slap in the face from life. I was diagnosed with cancer. And like at that moment, I decided that this is the moment that I want to really go all in and try to fulfill that dream of going into security. So I focused on like learning and getting on that path, and not like feeling sorry for myself and like, I don't know, thinking about, oh, this is terrible, or whatever. Is that life, you can have all kinds of diseases, it doesn't really matter. So that really helped me to focus, and I started sending my CVs, and in September 2021, I got hired by Accenture as a security analyst, and I'm really proud of that. And on the 16th of May, I'm switching branches, and I'm starting my first pen testing job at Accenture Poland. So I'm like, yay, this is finally happening for me. And I'm literally counting seconds for my first day as an official pen tester, because I did everything myself and no one was helping me. So I'm really proud of that. Yay.
Congratulations, Dorota. And I just want to touch on a moment that you shared with us, that you are overcoming a personal journey and also striving for this dream of yours. And I just wanted to say, woman to woman, I'm so proud of you and for the strength that you exude, and that this dream of yours is coming true. For the other women who are watching, you can do it. And Dorota will help you get there. And Dorota, so
Definitely.
proud of you. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So pen testing, you mentioned it's kind of like solving problems and finding the flaws or finding the errors. And you mentioned no bad guys, because there's ethical hacking as well. I think it's very interesting that pen testing has a lot of colors mentioned in whether you're a red hat or you're a white black box or white box or gray box pen testing. What do all these colors mean when pen testing in conversation? What does that mean?
So black box is when a tester is given minimal knowledge on the target and no access. So he doesn't know how to log into the systems. He has to figure out everything themselves. And so it focuses mostly on examining the system against the external factors and finding any weaknesses that you can use to gain access to the internal part. And then the white boxes, you are given all the access or the codes, like everything on the plate, right? And you go in and pretty much test the internal systems and what are the flaws in there. And gray box is when it's like mixed, both of the flavors in between. So you are given limited access, and part of it you have to figure out yourself. And it's like in the middle.
That's interesting, though, that there are so many different elements, and companies hire you on to find their flaws as well, right? Or you could be internally and stopping the bad guys from finding your flaws, right?
Yes, precisely.
Just good for layman's terms to understand what pen testing could mean. And if you're interested in joining Dorota on this journey as well, we have so many certifications here at ITProTV that help you on the journey. But what kind of certifications did you get, Dorota, to help you get to where you are today?
I started. So I only have the CompTIA Security Plus now. I passed it this year, but going a few steps before I started my journey, because I went into the security field and I didn't know what to start with. So I felt like I'm drowning here. There's like so much knowledge. I don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. So I found like you have all those certifications and they have like the curriculum you have to study. So I figured, they already listed all the things you need. So I thought, I will follow courses for certifications just for the knowledge base. So I started my knowledge chase with pursuing the CSSP, so Certified Information Security System Security Professional. Mm-hmm. And so it was like kind of an unusual certification to start because it's directly to the management level of like skill and like people. But it was like a huge like pool of knowledge for me, and like maybe a good moment to really go in deep. But then I decided to follow go back to the basics, and found CompTIA, and they have all those kind interesting courses and certifications. So I started with CompTIA A+ because I wanted to know about computers. What are the plugs you need? Like how everything hardware is created. Well, how does it work? Because that's interesting to me. Mm-hmm. And then I knew that if I want to go into security, I have to know more about the network. So I followed with the Network Plus course to know about switches, routers, how the internet cable is built. So it was like really informative for me. And then obviously I followed with the Security Plus from CompTIA, and then passed the exam. And now I'm doing the Pentest Plus course because I have the exam end of this month.
Good luck.
And what next? And I'm also I also found a page that is called TryHackMe, and I use it every day for like hands-on exercises. Like real life is really cool and like very beginner friendly. So I really encourage others to check it out.
That's amazing. Yeah. Well, and CompTIA is something that we offer here at ITProTV. So if you're thinking, oh my word, I want to do what Dorota's doing, make sure that you go to our website and check out CompTIA's courses. But Dorota, good luck on your exam at the end of this month. We're cheering for you. And I think I definitely want to check out the TryHackMe. We'll put that up on the screen as well. And what do you do when you go on that site? Is it pen testing?
So there are like all kinds of security-related exercises, but yeah, I mostly go into offensive security, like pen testing tools, because yeah, it's really cool. Because on half of the screen you have the examples, like explanations and tips and tricks, and on the other half of the screen you have a virtual machine with Kali Linux and all the tools that you need to learn and do the hands-on exercises, and then you like do the exercise and have to give answers on the first side of the screen. It's really, I don't know, it's really nice. I really like it.
It sounds like a fun activity, and probably as you're doing it, you're learning more about the hacking field, but in a fun way, right?
Yeah, and there's like badges and points. It's a good gamification of knowledge, like gaining knowledge is really cool.
That is awesome. And when you mentioned that you started off with programming and it has evolved into this, it's neat because a lot of the women that we talk to on the show have started in a certain field and it has evolved into another path. And so if you're watching and you're thinking, okay, you know, I've started in this field and maybe I'd like to try something else, you know, follow in Dorota's footsteps. Now, Dorota, if they wanted to reach out to you and ask some questions, where should they go?
Oh, then I invite everyone to come to my LinkedIn page. So I'm really helpful, and my profile is wholesome. I just post a lot of motivational things and advice and encouragement. So if anyone like feels shy and doesn't know how to start, you can just send me a private message, and I will try to help and encourage you and like tell you, oh, you're awesome, and go for it. And I don't know, I'm really like a nice person, so yeah, please go and try asking questions.
I will vouch for that. She is a very nice person. And, you know, it's so nice to have a conversation with you because I think, you know, with all of the women who are in the tech field, there are so many different choices, and encouraging women to go into the pen testing and cybersecurity field is a really neat avenue to follow in your footsteps. If you had any advice to women who are thinking, okay, this sounds really awesome, I'd like to try it, what would you say to her?
Oh, then I would say believe in yourself. Don't give up. Don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do it or you are not good enough because you're a woman. So you should forget about it. I strongly encourage everyone to start learning and like sending those CVs. Yes, you can really just go for it. You can really do it, and just believe in yourself. That's all it takes. I guess that's my advice.
That is fantastic. Dorota, thank you so much for joining us today. And if you'd like to get in touch with Dorota, make sure you check out her LinkedIn. But we are so grateful that you joined us today all the way from Poland. Thanks, Dorota.
What a great interview, Lauren. Dorota is an inspirational woman, and I'm mostly inspired because she had some challenges that she mentioned, and she was like, you know what? I'm not going to let these challenges define me. I am going to overcome. And that's exactly what she did, you know? So, the pen testing is not an easy thing at all. Ooh. I've been reading a lot about it, and I had no idea what pen testing was prior to working for ITProTV.
Well, and she mentioned all these colors. I think that's the other thing that I didn't realize about pen testing is, we talk about red hat, or blue team or red team or white hat.
Right.
Understanding what these different categories mean was very clarifying for me. But Sophie, I wish you could have been there. She is such a powerful woman.
I'm sorry that I had to miss it, but I'm really glad that you were able to find her and reach out to her, because I think that depending on what geographic area you're in, you kind of forget that the rest of the world exists sometimes, and
yes.
tech is international. So, I mean, it's so neat to hear from somebody that is, halfway across the world, and to remember that, like, this is an international thing, and I tend to get kind of America-centric because that's where I am, and I forget that all this other stuff is going on in other parts of the world.
Well, and it was really neat to know that there's someone behind the scenes who is testing to make sure that bad guys can't get in. So one step ahead is what I like to think, and it's really neat to know that a woman like Dorota is protecting what needs to be protected. So really great interview, and I was happy that we got a chance to share her with you.
And if you're interested in pen testing and learning more about it, or even taking a course or two, we have plenty of them for you at ITPro.TV. And Daniel Lowry is the man when it comes to pen testing. All right, it's time for this week's Lit Tip of the Week with Sophie Goodwin.
So this episode is all about certified ethical hacking and pen testing, and one thing that you might not think about when it comes to this career is that communication is really important. So that's our lit tip for you this week, is to hone your communication skills. ITProTV actually offers some courses in business and soft skills. Our Beyond Tech course has episodes on interpersonal skills and verbal communication, or you can check out our People Skills for IT Pros course. That has some episodes on emotion and communication and avoiding some common communication mistakes, as well as just connecting with others. Because verbal communication and written communication is a really important part, not just of ethical hacking, but of any career. And no matter how good you are at your job, this can really make or break you. So it is important to hone your communication skills. I encourage you to take advantage of any courses that IT Pro has to offer, and take any opportunity to improve those communication skills no matter what path you're on. So that's our lit tip of the week.
That's fantastic.
It really is.
How many times did the technical skills on the resume get your foot in the door, but then the interview and keeping the job is all about interpersonal skills? So now remote is a little different, but it's always good to have these social skills just in case.
Yeah, definitely. Social skills are huge. Communication skills are huge. And in that interview, that is exactly what they're testing.
Oh, absolutely.
Why do you think they ask questions like, oh, so tell me about a difficult time on the job, and what happened and how did you overcome? They get you with these trick questions because they want to see how you communicate, but also how you deal socially in a social setting.
And I did speak to Daniel Lowry in preparing for this episode, and I just asked him, I was like, when it comes to ethical hacking, because that's something that he knows a lot about, I said, would you agree that communication is important? And I just wasn't sure, and he immediately was like, oh my gosh, yes. You would be so surprised how so many people are so good at their job and they're great at pen testing or whatever it is they choose to do. But that communication is, it doesn't matter how good you are at your job if you can't communicate what you're doing, especially to people that aren't involved in that field. Because, if it's your boss and they don't know what you're doing, you have to be able to communicate that to them in layman's terms.
So true. And basically having that understanding of you can be very intelligent, but being able to relay that to someone is crucial. So great lit tip. Well, speaking of interpersonal skills, it's really great to celebrate a Woman of the Week. And so, Sophie, who's this week's wow?
This week's wow is Alyssa Miller. She's a lifelong hacker and highly experienced security executive, and she's also a high-level cybersecurity professional. She got her start at 12 years old. She got a job working as a paper carrier to save up money to buy a computer, and then later in her life, she began her IT career as a programmer for a financial software provider. Then she moved into a leadership role with the ethical hacking team in that company, and she conducted penetration testing and application assessments with that team. And today, she's directing the security strategy for S&P Global Ratings as the Business Information Security Officer, which is quite the the title. But on top of that, speaking of communication, she's also an accomplished public speaker. And in addition to that, she's a soccer referee, a guitarist, and a photographer. She's got quite the array of skills.
Yeah.
Definitely has made good use of her time, and clearly she's been a great professional communicator in order to get to where she is. So that's our Woman of the Week.
A woman of many trades, and I love it because the thing that stood out to me most was that she took a paper route to save up for a computer. Like, think about 12-year-olds. When they get a few dollars, what do? They go to the corner store, buy some candy.
The mall,
or, you know, go to the mall. But she was like, no, I'm going to get this computer, and I'm going to make something in my life. I like that.
Just the wherewithal that she knew what she wanted to do and that tool and where it was going to take her. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Serious wow this
right.
week,
A strategic planner and thinker.
Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely. Well, and every time we talk about one of these Women of the Week, it's just so motivating to hear about them. And so speaking of motivation, I think it's time for a moment of motivation with Kelly Mack.
Minimal effort gets minimal results. If you want to accomplish your goals or be elevated in life, you need to focus, plan, and work hard.
Well, that ties back perfectly to the wow. I mean, a 12-year-old planning her future endeavors.
Right.
You know, but it makes me think of that book. Have you ever read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Successful People?
No, I haven't.
Fantastic book. But one of the principles is begin with the end in mind. And so plan, I feel like knowing where you want to go is half the battle. And it really taking steps to get there is a really great start. Being proactive. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Now, that reminds me of a movie I recently saw, the story of Serena and Venus Williams. It was written by their father, King Richard.
Yes.
And did you know that he planned their entire life and career out before they were even brought into this world? Whew. And he made them write in journals every night before they went to bed, because he says you either plan to be successful or you plan to fail. Those are your two options. So they had to have a concrete plan every day to get their day started. And I thought that was phenomenal. It's something great to think about if you're trying to plan to get to the next level.
That's true. It wouldn't work for me, but I'm sure it might work for some.
Right.
And I think it's true that I think one thing that I think in everything, the classes that I've taken, there was a fraternity I was part of, that this was their mantra. It was you get out what you put in.
Yes.
So it really does depend. Minimal efforts get minimal results. So if you put in a lot of effort, you're going to get that out in some way, shape, or form. Whether you put a lot of effort into your fitness, whether you put it into your work, your job, whether you put it into your family, you're going to get out what you put in.
Yes, indeed, indeed. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Energy transaction too, you know?
Everything, everything. Well, hey, this is a wrap, and I can't believe it's the 9th episode of Ladies in Tech.
Yes.
Our season finale is next week.
Can't believe it.
What are we going to be doing?
Well, you know what? Next week is episode 10, and we just want to celebrate some of the incredible things that have happened in season 1. And so hop on to Twitter, hop on to social media, and tell us some of your favorite moments, and you just might see them show up in our episode 10. So we're going to be sharing the highlights of season 1, and you're going to want to see what you missed and also give us some ideas for season 2. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ladies in Tech. Make sure to follow us on all social media like we said, and we'll see you next time for the season finale.